Cache County seems to have dropped over a dozen charges against rapper NBA YoungBoy. He was originally facing 63 charges, ranging from identity fraud to forgery in an alleged prescription scam.
Rapper NBA YoungBoy was arrested this week at his Mill Creek home in what the Cache County Sheriff's Office is calling an ongoing investigation into criminal conduct.
NBA YoungBoy was arrested in Utah yesterday. According to newly released documents, he was arrested for his alleged involvement in a large-scale prescription fraud ring in Cache County.
Developments tonight on the case of rapper NBA YoungBoy. His pre-trial release hearing regarding the prescription drug case is scheduled for next Monday. The 24-year-old rapper, whose real name is Kentrell Deshaun Galden, he's facing 63 charges.
An arrest warrant issued for Baton Rouge rapper NBA YoungBoy after another arrest in Utah this week. A judge here responded by revoking his house arrest.
NBA YoungBoy. Yes. NBA YoungBoy. Not just a boy. It's a grown man now, going through trials and tribulations. But don't forget, all the gold and all the riches and all the mansions and all the cars is not only what defines him, but did not make him. What made him is where he came from, his background, the friends, the crews that he hanged with, the gangs he was in charge of, the gangs he rode with, the guns he blazed, the crimes he committed. That's what made him. Louisiana is where YoungBoy come from. Now, when young NBA boy first came to the game, I think his goal was to stay true to himself. And until this day, young NBA YoungBoy, he's definitely staying true to himself. But is it true? Is the crimes that they claim he committed in Utah, is it true? Or are they just blaming another black boy that's making money in the United States? And he just so happened to go to Bible study, stay home all day with his kids, read lullaby stories to them, and he goes to bed. And all of this is just made up. It's just made up by the FBI. It's made up by the police. It's all a dream. Does he still commit crimes? Is he still getting high? Is young NBA boy, is he really the leader of a criminal enterprise? His original charges added up to 64 criminal charges of fraud and a lot of miscellaneous charges. But they did drop about a dozen charges. So is it true? Or is the police just jealous of a millionaire, young, black, and America's most dangerous rapper in the eyes of his fans? Many people screamed and was astonished that they gave the young rapper probation. Well, really house arrest until the charges are set forth. While many millions of other American young black Hispanic boys in America have to settle staying in a house that is less than 0.1 acre, while young NBA boy stays in a mansion that is over 80 acres of property. So the whole world is in an uproar because NBA YoungBoy is going through this big trial that's probably going to last the next 3 to 4 years, maybe 5. So with that said, let's start from the beginning. Let's see where all his troubles began. Young boy never broke his game, found not guilty in federal gun case. Lawyers for the rapper argued that he did not know the weapon was in the car when he was pulled over and arrested on a separate warrant in California last year. The chart-topping 22-year-old rapper Young Boy Never Broke Again, born Kentrell D. Golden, was found guilty on Friday, July 15, 2022, of possessing a firearm and ammunition as a felon, concluding one of the 2 federal gun trials he had been facing. A jury in Los Angeles reached its verdict after about 2 hours on its second day of deliberation. Mr. Gardell, who is known to fans as NBA Youngboy or YB, faced up to 10 years in prison in the case. The gun possession charge in California stemmed from Youngboy's March 2021 arrest in Los Angeles area on a separate federal gun possession warrant from an earlier incident in the rapper's home state of Louisiana. In September 2020, Youngboy was among 16 people accused of possessing guns and drugs at a video shoot in Baton Rouge. His lawyers have said none of the contraband was in his possession. Prosecutors in the Central District of California said that upon attempting to execute the warrant in the case, Youngboy initially seemed to cooperate, pulling over his Mercedes Maybach before taking off again and leading officers on a high-speed chase. After the rapper fled on foot, police found an FNX .45 caliber pistol and ammunition behind the front seat passenger seat, along with cap and jewelry, which stated that it might belong to Young NBA Youngboy, or what they call him, YB.
Without being, kind of sticking to your beliefs, sticking to who you are the whole time. Are you kind of like self-aware to realize that like you are on the Mount Rushmore of like this hip hop shit that lasts like 10 years? Like you are like up there. You are the Pac of our generation for so many people.
I never seen them said, so it's like I got a long ways to go. I don't know. I just want to go until they said. And it's molded.
But who's they?
The industry.
Fuck.
You know what the industry is?
That's the people.
NBA Youngboy is 100% correct. Is the people. With more than 30 million total streams and 109 RIAA certified releases, including 3 platinum or double platinum albums, NBA Youngboy is one of the most listened to artists. He is the second most streamed rapper in this country this year, only behind Drake. He has been crowned YouTube's most streamed hip-hop artist of 2023, earning the title for the 5th year in a row. This year, the artist, he's off to a great start with almost 300 million streams on Spotify in 2024 alone.
I be wanting a regular job sometime. Like a construction company. Or I just sit in the office every day just all day.
Just relax, be a regular person?
Yeah.
So if you could do any sort of regular job, it'd have to be having a construction company?
Yeah.
Well, Young NBA, he wasn't lying about wanting to have a job, because he did have a job, well, a pretend job. He was pretending to be an old lady on the phone and also pretending to be a doctor. So when he's saying this interview, he always wanted to have a job. I guess he was just practicing. Check it out.
tried the same scheme at a different pharmacy location. Okay, so again, September 19, 2023, Spence's Pharmacy in Logan received a phone call from the suspect using the same physician's information, calling in a prescription for a Gwendolyn Cox with a claimed date of birth in 1951. Look at the ages here. The prescription was for promethazine with codeine, similar to the prescription called in to Reed's Pharmacy. About 2 weeks after the prescription had been called in, the prescription had been picked up by a female individual who will be referred to as Associate 2. The affidavit goes on to state, Associate 2 picked up the prescription for Gwendolyn and alleged that Gwendolyn was her grandmother. Later on October 9th, 2023, Spence's Pharmacy received another call from the suspect identifying as the same physician, again trying to prescribe promethazine with codeine to Gwendolyn Cox. However, the pharmacist requested that they send a hard copy of the prescription with the patient this time, and the suspect hung up the phone. At this time, employees of Spence's Pharmacy attempted to call the real physician back after looking up his phone number for a practice in Provo. Contact was made with the real physician, and he told them that he had not called in any prescriptions and that his name and credentials are being used fraudulently. So this is a much larger issue. The affidavit goes on to say that this is an ongoing alleged scheme because then we go to January 17th, 2024. A fraudulent prescription was called into the Larry's Pharmacy in the Smithfield, Utah area. The prescription had been called in by the suspect identifying as the physician. The prescription was being called in for a female by the name of, you guessed it, Gwendolyn Cox. Slightly different spelling, though, and date of birth as the one at Spence's Pharmacy with the provided birthday of 1949. The prescription called in was promethazine with codeine, listed as a Schedule 5 controlled substance. After receiving the request for the prescription, the pharmacy had found the call to be suspicious. The pharmacy attempted to contact the doctor again, but the phone number was disconnected. The pharmacy searched the practice on the internet for the physician and found that he was a medical provider in Provo. During the conversation with the physician, he stated that he does not have a patient by the name of Gwendolyn Cox and suggested that the prescription request was fraudulent. The physician had told the pharmacy that this has happened many times. The pharmacy then contacted law enforcement and provided the information. In addition, the pharmacy had also been in communication with someone who identified themselves as Gwendolyn Cox and that they were making arrangements for their grandchild to pick up the prescription. They described that Gwendolyn sounded as though they were a much younger person disguising their voice to sound much older. The phone numbers that the pharmacy had received calls from were later called by the pharmacy and found to be disconnected or not in service. So, what happened? Well, the affidavit states that a plan was devised to contact whoever arrived to pick up the prescription from Larry's Pharmacy. 2 different females, later identified as known associates of Kentrell Galden, young boy, and will be referred to as known associate 1 and 2. They arrived at Larry's Pharmacy to pick up the prescription. They were detained for the investigation. They were later arrested for their role in a prescription fraud ring. But get this. Investigators say that young boy himself actually reached out to them pretending to be Gwendolyn. The investigator states in the probable cause affidavit, quote, during the investigation, I was contacted by dispatch and informed of a Gwendolyn Cox needing to speak with me. I contacted Gwendolyn at the phone number that she provided dispatch. During my conversation with Gwendolyn, she gave me the last name of White, then asked for the spelling of her name. Gwendolyn only gave me her birth month and date and could not provide her age to me. Gwendolyn also would not provide her address, though the address given to the pharmacy was a local address to Smithfield. Also, during the conversation with Gwendolyn, it was very clear that a fake voice was being used. Gwendolyn sounded as though she was a much younger male from the southern states. Gwendolyn made a statement, well, I asked her to, and she said that she'll have you call me. This statement was a response to a request that was made to have Gwendolyn contact dispatch and have them transfer her call back through. According to your affiant's training and experience and having lived in the southern United States, the terminology in replacing the word ask with ax or other variations is consistent with a southern dialect in states such as Texas,
Well, one thing I could say about NBA Youngboy is at least he's willing to take his charges like a man and not blame anybody. Because the charges that he has coming to him are very heavy. Check it out. NBA Youngboy orchestrated the largest scale prescription fraud scheme in Utah, police say. An affidavit filed Thursday by an officer for the Cache County Sheriff's Office named the rapper born Kentrell Deshawn Glauden has a primary suspect in months-long scheme that involved posing as a doctor to fill prescriptions for promethazine with codeine, a controlled substance in pharmacies in cities including Hiram, Logan, and Smithfield. The affidavit was filed 2 days after Golden, 24, was arrested Tuesday evening on 63 charges, including counts of identity fraud, forgery, and procuring or attempting to procure prescription drugs. On September 19, 2023, two pharmacies in the Cache County area received a prescription order for a person claiming to be a physician in Provo. The person allegedly posing as the physician provided valid identifying information and requested to fill a prescription for two patients in their 70s, Bethel White and Gwendolyn Cox. In both instances, the real physician, who was not identified, told the pharmacies that he did not have patients with those names and said his name and credentials are being fraudulently used. A third fraudulent prescription for the same drug was allegedly called into Smithfield Pharmacy on January 17, 2024, again by the suspect identifying as the physician. The prescriptions was for the patient named Gwendolyn Cox, not Gwendolyn, with a different birth date. Physicians and pharmacists were suspicious about the request and attempted to reach out to the physicians, but the call was disconnected, the affidavit says. The real physician later confirmed to the Smithfield Pharmacy that he did not place the order and did not have a patient named Gwendolyn Cox. According to the document from the Smithfield Pharmacy, Cache County, police detained the identified women, associates 1 and 2. They were later arrested for their alleged involvement in the prescription fraud ring. Nelson said that amid his investigation, Gwendolyn Cox requested to get in touch. However, during the conversation, the caller allegedly offered White as the last name instead of Cox, and did not provide a full date of birth or a home address. During the conversation with Gwendolyn, it was very clear that a fake voice was being used. Nelson wrote in an affidavit before citing the caller's pronunciations of ask as.
Do you have thoughts about what happens after rap?
I'm kind of set on going to jail right now, so I don't really think about too much.
Hey, you want me to put you over here? When you say you're set on going to jail, what do you mean? Like going back? Like you think that that's just in your fate?
I guess that's just my life. I don't let it bother me or no shit like that. You create the bed, you make the bed you lay. Yeah. It should take a toll on me,
Yeah.
my wife,
Your kids. Just the music industry. Being famous.
Just I wouldn't blame it on the industry. It's all about how you go about it, and I'm not that strong.
That's important to be self-aware about, man.
I cry a lot, literally.
That was easy.